President Trump signing the executive order last night in the Oval Office to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is a monumental milestone for Bitcoin. The nation states have officially arrived. There have been a few countries like El Salvador and Bhutan that previously embraced the digital currency. But America is the big dog in the arena, and our entrance into the global accumulation race, this marks a brand new era. Now here's a video of Donald Trump signing the executive order, which David Sachs describes as a digital Fort Knox for digital gold.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold.
And this is something you believe in?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
I gotta say, it's pretty surreal to see that video. Now, the details of the executive order were written in a near perfect way. First, the United States is going to use the approximately 200,000 coins already in our possession as the seed capital for the strategic reserve. This decision makes the United States government one of the largest holders of Bitcoin globally today on day one. Now, you can see in the language used that the author of the executive order understood Bitcoin. They explicitly call out Bitcoin as digital gold. They reference the fact that Bitcoin has never been hacked before. And they highlight the digital scarcity created by Bitcoin's 21 million coin limit. But the executive order did not stop there. In fact, it was just getting warmed up, baby. The US government is also opening the door for Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick to purchase more Bitcoin over time. And this is a big, big deal. The specific language in the executive order says that the Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce are authorized to develop budget-neutral strategies for acquiring additional Bitcoin. This is provided that those strategies have no incremental cost on American taxpayers. Now you have to hand it to the administration. This is a perfect balancing act. They're able to thread that needle perfectly. They figured out a way to buy more Bitcoin without requiring more taxpayer dollars to do it. Genius. This strategy alleviates the concerns of critics who didn't want to see the US government increasing spending to buy a digital asset. But the strategy also appeals to Bitcoiners who were concerned that the United States would merely put the 200,000 existing coins in the reserve, but they would not actually work to acquire more Bitcoin over time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a win-win solution. So where do we go from here? I personally believe that there are a few important points to keep an eye on. First, the President of the United States and his team were able to construct a plan that explicitly called out the difference between Bitcoin and all those altcoins. They aren't going to be abrasive to Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. They're actually going to be pretty supportive of them, and they're going to create a digital asset stockpile for any of those coins that are confiscated. But the US is not going to work to accumulate more altcoins through open market purchases. That's a good idea. We should commend them for that. The second thing is that the United States has a lot of options at their disposal to find money to buy more Bitcoin. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on CNBC this morning, and he explained how he views the buying of more Bitcoin and where that money could come from. Take a listen.
Joe, I am a big proponent of the U.S. taking the worldwide lead in crypto. I think we have to bring it onshore and they use our best practices and regulation. I think that the Bitcoin reserve, before you can accumulate it, you have to stop selling it. So what we have now is from a seized asset pool, and I wasn't there when it happened, but I believe what happened was about 500 million of Bitcoin was seized, half of it was sold, and what we have now that, say it's over 10 billion, 10, 12 billion, that's all through appreciation. So the first thing to do is to stop the selling. And then we'll see what the way forward is for more acquisitions for the reserves.
I don't know about you, but it sure sounds like the United States is going to continue buying more Bitcoin over time to me. Now, third, and maybe most importantly, the US government just put the global accumulation race for Bitcoin into hyperdrive. They're slamming down on that gas pedal. Every country in the world has now been put on notice that nation states are trying to accumulate as much of the 21 million coins as they can. Interestingly, the price of Bitcoin did not skyrocket on news of the executive order. There's plenty of people who thought we'd get like a $100,000 candle on the news. But instead we saw the price dump because the general public seemed disappointed that the US did not announce a monster buy of Bitcoin to go with the announcement. But I view the price decline as a perfect example of how markets don't understand nuance. And in my opinion, this will likely be seen as a moment of arbitrage in hindsight. If you had asked me 8 or 9 years ago what would be the most bullish development for Bitcoin, the idea of the US government buying Bitcoin would have been near top of the list, if not number one. Now fast forward about a decade, and here we are. This is nearly unbelievable. We have the President of the United States sitting in the Oval Office signing an executive order to buy Bitcoin. Wow. The federal government is now hoarding the hardest money ever created. US states are going to quickly follow along with foreign countries. There have been few times in history where individuals were able to front-run governments for a financial asset, but that's the beauty of Bitcoin. The digital currency is available to anyone with an internet connection. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what language you speak, and it doesn't matter what school your parents went to. You just need the ability to think independently and act boldly. On this historic milestone, I can't help but think how crazy this whole situation has become. Satoshi invented the perfect solution to one of the hardest problems in the world. That solution was met with abrasiveness and critiques from people all around the globe. But in a free market where the best ideas win, Bitcoin continues to succeed in the face of adversity. And now the United States has capitulated. Bitcoin is winning. Just make sure that you are gracious in victory. There are still billions of people who need to learn about Bitcoin and the economic freedom it can provide. The job is not finished yet. I can't wait to see what else we can all accomplish together.